Excellent. All right, let's dive in. Let's do this. So let's finish off where we were last time on this idea of the arrays. Do you guys remember? Let me think. If we go back here to creating and using arrays from Monday's class, you can download the file that we ended class with. Okay. So if you don't have your file, or if you just want to start with the file that we did in class, you can download this. I think I already have it downloaded from previously. So if I pop this open, I believe where we left off was we had a little bit of an error. Is that right? Um, if I recall, when I ran this initialize sub, what happens when you run it? Does anybody get this error as well? Type mismatch error. Great. Let me see your hands. How many have this error pulled up? Okay, 4 or 5 of us. And I found the fix. So here is the fix. It's actually not where it says the problem is. Surprise, surprise. This is saying there's a type mismatch in this row right here. Excuse me. We looked at this last time, and this was a text format as a text trying to put this into a long data type, right? And so it said, nope, that's not going to work. And I figured out the error is this right here. So in the for loop for y equals, we're going to change this to y equals x plus 1. And why? Why am I changing this? So it was 0, and now I'm changing this to x plus 1. Basically, what we're doing is we're avoiding these green boxes that are 0 or blank, right? So we're saying whatever x is, we want y to be one column over, right? One more than whatever x is. And that's the change. That's the big difference. So if this works, what happens now? We got it to work. We got it to work. And where that puts us then is the following. So what we've done, what we did last time, is we basically created 3 different arrays. We had one array of hotels, list of hotels. We put all the names in. We had one array for the route, and we put -1 in, right? I think we did that up here. Yeah, route x equals -1. And then we created the dist array, and we put in all of the distances from all of the hotels. And then we also filled in the blanks here in the array side of this, just as a mirror of what was already here, right? Here's the 10, 10, 23, 23, 300, 300, with the goal that what we're trying to do is we're trying to come up with a route. The context here is we have all these hotels. We've just been hired by Starwood Corporation to go visit all 35 hotels, 36 hotels. That's right, because the first one's 0. 36 hotels as we start our internship, and they're going to pay for it all. So the question is, what route should we take through all these hotels? And great. So that's kind of where we're at. We're good. Any questions so far? We're just kind of recapping what we did last time and then fixing this error. So if you fix this y equals 0 to say y equals x plus 1, this works great. And we're good to go. Question?
Yeah, I want to see the variable that you put with the explicit.
Oh, option explicit. Yeah, good question. What are these? What is that? Who can tell me why they're up here? What are these doing up here? We learned that last time as well. Is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Sam. Sam is choking on his gum.
Is it not for just that sub? It's for like all the sub.
That's exactly right. It's for that module, right? So everything inside this module, every sub inside this module will have access to these arrays. Very good. Does that answer your question, Francis? So that's one question of this is we are creating 3 arrays that are going to be accessible across all these subs and functions. Everything in this module, module 1. These are going to have it, right?
If the variable is in the sub, then it's unique to that sub.
Exactly.
Put it up there, then it any sub is created in this.
In this module. That's it. Very good. Yeah, that's well said. What do you call this though? An array that has nothing in the parentheses. What does that mean? There's no number here, right? What does that mean when we're creating an array without a defined number? Sam again?
Is it,
Chokeless Sam. Sam is not choking this time.
well, is it like we're just creating it and not assigning anything until later?
Very good. Excellent. This is a dynamic array. We don't know exactly how much it's going to be, how many pieces or how many indices or it's going to have, because it's going to be variable. So it's going to be dynamic. We can do that down here with the redim. The reason why redim was created was to give us this capability to say, we can have a dynamic array, right? We can change the length of this array when the program runs. Very good. And this allows us to put in not a literal, but an expression inside of the parentheses. We can't do that when we create this because this is not executable. This line runs before the first line of code is run, right? In other words, when we click on initialize and run this sub, the first thing it does before it runs any codes is it goes through all the lines of dim and it creates those variables in memory. That's the very first thing it does. And it has to know how many to create, unless it's a very dynamic array. It just creates a placeholder, and then later we say how many we want to create. So good. Great. Did we learn anything else about arrays last time? Anybody think of anything else about arrays? Anything else comes to mind? What is an array? Jamie wasn't here, so I mean she was, but she wasn't. What's an array? Anybody remember? Elijah?
I don't remember like a list of persons you can use. It's a list of numbers and find or they each individual number. That you can use a function called
I like that. Nice and simple. It's a list. It's a list of values, a list of variables. It's like X and Y. We could have a list of two, right? Here's one array, one list. Here's another array, another list. Notice this is a string array, right? This is a numerical array. And then here's a two-dimensional array. And we talked a little bit about how we can have multi-dimensionals, right? Three-dimension, four, you can have a lot of dimensions. Practically, I've never used more than a two-dimensional array, but you could use it. Okay, great. So that's really what the purpose is today. We're going to continue with this idea of the arrays. And the goal here is still, by the end of today, we are going to come up with a route that tells us which hotel to go to next. Does that make sense? We're going to be able to run this. We're going to be able to run a sub, and it's going to analyze all this information and pick out what the route should be from the first hotel to the last hotel. Okay, great. And that's kind of where we're at. So let's do this. Let's create another sub. We have this initialized sub. This is good. I'll stop running. I'll take out the stop here. I don't need the stop here. And let's do another sub. Let's call this calc route. This is where we're going to calculate the route. And let's go ahead and let's call first the initialize sub. Let's make that something that this sub does first. So I'm just going to type in initialize here, and then that's going to call this sub up here. We could put call in front of it. That's how it used to be. We don't have to have the call here, but that's what's happening is we're saying the first thing I want you to do when you run this sub is to run the initialize sub. So let's put that in here. Initialize sub. Once that's done, we've created these three arrays, right? So that's basically what this initialize sub does, is we're creating these three arrays. And the good thing here is that if we add hotels to this list, we can run this over and over again. Does that make sense? This can be used for more than just your internship, right? Um, and I like this idea. Let me take a half a step back here and just let me pose an interesting idea to you that I've been thinking about. I think it's true, but I'd be interested to know what you guys see in the next 15 years of your 20 years of your, your career. Here's a thought to chew on or to consider. In the past, the supply chain management program has been focused on helping students learn how to complete tasks or complete activities within the supply chain realm, right? Where I think AI is going to go, and I think where your careers are going to go, is by the end of probably within the next 5 years, maybe less, your tasks are going to turn into workflows. And so everything that you're going to do, you're going to be able to create a repeatable process using AI, right? You're not just creating and completing tasks, but I think we as a industry and as a program need to start helping students think about how to do supply chain from a workflow perspective. How do we operationalize everything that we're doing, right? It's one thing to say, here's my job, here's my role, here's the tasks that I do in my role. It's another thing to say, um, here's my workflows. Here are the tasks that fit into this workflow, and here's how these workflows work, right? That is like another level of abstraction above just doing your daily tasks. So if you think about that, part of what we're doing here is we're taking this task of this one-time activity of identifying the route that we should take, and we're building a program around how do we put this into a workflow, right? How do we repeat this process no matter what the hotels are, how many there are? That's really what this program is doing, right? That's helping us learn, oh, we are operationalizing this and putting this into a workflow. So it's kind of an interesting idea, right? When you think about AI and your role in AI and your careers, is don't be caught just in doing the task better, faster, cheaper, but think about it from a workflows perspective. How do these tasks overlap and integrate? How do you build a workflow that does the task, right? That's kind of, I mean, frankly, I'm almost a little bit jealous. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's totally cool that no matter what position you go into, you can abstract almost anything into a workflow and add value into that workflow, not just the task. So that's pretty cool. But that's really what we're doing here. So what we're doing then is we're creating this sub, this calc route sub. We're initializing it. Once we initialize it, what's the next step? We need to identify what is the next hotel. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and create, and let's assume that the first hotel is going to be Salt Lake. Okay. So let's take route index 0, and let's say route index 0 is equal to 1, because 1 is the Salt Lake Hotel. So let's just type that in here. We'll say route index 0 is equal to 1. That's like before the loops, any other loop that we're going to do, we're just going to say, boom. What this means is, and I'll put in a comment here, let's assume we are assuming we start at the Salt Lake City Hotel. That's it. So once we run this, then this first one becomes 1. So I'll just go ahead and type this in 1 here just to visually see what's happening with our arrays here. So now route index 0, that first hotel, is going to be 1. It's not 0, it's going to be 1 here. That's going to be the Salt Lake one. Okay, great. In addition, let's do this. We need to figure out what is the next hotel. So that's kind of like saying, what if we did route 1 equals next hotel? Route 2, next hotel. right? We're gonna have to do this for each route. And obviously we're starting to see a pattern here, so we're gonna do a loop. But why don't we do this? Let's take this next hotel and let's build a function. So here's our loop. Let's build the function first. Let's come down here, do another function. And the nice thing is we don't have to pass anything to the function because the function is going to have access to all of our data up here. All these arrays in the top are going to be available to the function. So I'm going to come down here below the subcalc route, and I'm going to create a new function. This function is going to be called next hotel. And we'll return a long. We'll give it a number. So we'll say, what is the next hotel? And we'll say, what number, right? We want one of these indices to be the next hotel. So if we're at the Salt Lake Hotel, Salt Lake City Hotel, this function should return to us what is the next hotel, which we assumed last time we're going to say, okay, if this is the Salt Lake Hotel and these are the distances from the Salt Lake Hotel to all the other hotels, which one is the closest? That was the pattern we were going to follow. And I believe, if I scan this, I'm pretty sure it's number 7 because all of these are pretty far away. So Hotel 7, I believe, is the closest one. So there's 425 for Salt Lake. Number 7 is Las Vegas. Okay, so that's the one we're looking for here. So we would want this to be at the very end, we want next hotel to be 7 for just this first time that we're going to run it. That's the goal. So I'm going to type that in there just to remind me that's the goal here. So how do we get to that? That's what we're going to do. In order to find the question.
Can we like try and like,
Are you basically trying to organize the hotels in descending order?
Basically, yes. But we're going to do that every time based on whatever whole hotel we're at right now. Like repeating, right? Yeah, yeah. That's really where we're going to go. So the next step here, in order to find the next hotel, turns out, I think we need another function. And this other function is going to be called current hotel. What is our current hotel, right? We have to figure out what our current hotel is before we can figure out what the next hotel is. So let's create another function. Yep, let's do it. Let's do another function called current hotel. So I'll come down here. I'll type in function current hotel, and we'll also use the number. So we'll use a long as the data type. And again, we're not passing anything into this function. So this is blank inside the parentheses. We're not sending it any information, right? We're just going to run this because it has access, again, it has access to all these arrays. Inside the current hotel function, let's do a loop. How can we figure out, based on this array, how can we figure out what hotel we're currently at using this array? Any thoughts there? How do we figure out what's our current hotel? Yep. Which one did we pull first? Salt Lake, okay? And that's in here. So we have this one here. One way to do it is to say, where is a number that's positive greater than -1, right? So let's do a loop. And let's say, let's dim x as integer. This will keep track of our loop for us. Let's do a for loop. For x is equal to, and there's a function called ubound. This is called upper bound. And it says take whatever the highest number of that array is, that's the upper bound, right? So we're saying take the ubound of route and go to 0. So I'm basically saying start at the highest and go back down to the lowest. And we're going to take a step of -1. So we're going to go backwards, right? We'll go to U-bound 35, which is route. That's the highest number. So for 35 to 0, go backwards, a step of -1. And before I get too far, I want to close off my for loop with, how do I close a for? Next. Very good. Let me see if I can scroll up a little bit. And then inside of this loop, remember, we're just starting at the last and we're going up to the first. Let's say if the route X, so if this value here, if route X is greater than -1, then that's our current hotel. How about that? Then our current hotel is equal to route X. And we can exit the function. We're done. That's exactly what we needed. Does that make sense? Oh, what did I forget? See, I always forget. I forgot to close my if with an end if. That's what happens when you get old. I've got to close my if with an end if. So again, the logic here says start at the highest route. So start at the end of the route, which is going to be route, right, 35, and work backwards. That's what this is saying. Go backwards to 0. If the value is, wait, should that be less than or greater than? Nice. Good catch. Yeah, it should be greater than. If the value is greater than -1, then we know that's where we're at. That's our current hotel, right? Current hotel is equal to that route. That's right. That's exactly right. It's going to start here. Is this greater than -1? No. Is this greater than -1? No. Is this? It'll go all the way up until it hits this one. Boom. Yes, that is greater than -1. And so our current hotel is number 1. And it will exit the function. Not bad, right? It's probably fair to say if it gets through this entire list and they're all -1, let's return -1. How about that? So if in the case that, and it shouldn't happen, right? This shouldn't happen where it's -1 because we've already set route 0 to 1. So if we run this, then this shouldn't ever get to this point. But just in case, if we do receive a -1, we can understand why. So I'll put that in here after the for loop, right? So here, get your neighbor to look at your code real quick. Neighbor, does your if statement reside completely inside of the for loop, right? Because those need to be aligned. Make sure you have an exit function here. Make sure you have an end if here and a next here. Do a neighbor check. Ready, set, go. Nice. We got it. Francis? Wells? Nice. Okay, we're set. So that gives us our current hotel. Terrific. Okay, so now that we know what the current hotel, in fact, maybe we should just run this. Should we run this?
Yeah.
Let's run it. How do we run this? Can we just come up here and run it? Current hotel. Oh, the route hasn't been set. Probably what we need to do is run, let's do this. Let's take these out and let's do a stop here and run this one because this will initialize the arrays. It will set our route 0 to 1, and then it will call the next hotel. The next hotel function, oh, gets 7. Okay, that's probably not going to work because that's just going to return 7, and then it'll stop. So we need to call the current hotel inside of the next hotel. So let's do that, and then we'll run it. So let me come inside the next hotel function and say, we need a variable. Let's do dim. We are at. Is that too crazy? Which one are we at? And then we'll say we are at equals to current hotel. How about that? And let's put the stop here. That's probably where we want it instead of here. So I'll take the stop out of my calc route. I'll put the stop here.
You want us to also put up to.
Yeah, you can take those out. We don't need those right yet. And what we can do is we can initialize this. By the way, you can leave them in and it'll still stop here. So it won't actually get to them. But we can take them out. So I'm going to come into my calc route. I'll put my cursor inside the calc route somewhere, just so I can hit play on the calc route. Does that make sense? And let me go ahead and delete my immediate cursor inside the calc route sub, run that, and it stopped. Okay, good. It stopped here. That's good. We are at, so what is we are at? 1. That's it. We got it. Nice. Okay, let's make sure we got this. How are we there? Function current to has log. If and if. Oh, okay. So between the then and the exit function, you have to say, if that's true, then you say current hotel is equal to, let me take out some of these spaces here so we can get a little bit more code in the window here. So I think you don't have this line. Is that right, Jamie? The blue line? I think you've got the other parts. Where are we at? You see what I did there? Where are we at? Did you get that?
Saying
Expected expression.
after I try to run this right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you got confused with the question. Question where the second question mark.
Let's see.
Take that out and then run that.
Okay.
Nice.
I was here on Monday, so I'm just kind of following along.
Oh, that's right.
Assignment.
Nice.
Good.
Any questions?
Not far.
Okay, okay. Sweet. Ash, any questions? Nice.
You're gonna have to.
I'm gonna stop.
Mhm. We're gonna make tons.
Not bad, not bad. That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
She said, "Oh,
She's making an inside joke. I was asking her where are we at, and I was referring to the variable, and she was referring to stop. Fair, fair,
I'm sick."
nice. Good for you. Okay, great.
I have-
Sure. Francis, questions? Okay,
Mine didn't get to the stop. So.
that one. Okay, so this one saw, it says call initialize. Is that the same name as the sub up above here? Let's scroll. Perfect. Initialize. Route 01. And, oh, I think the route has got 2 U's there. I know, right? See if you can run that, hit play, see if that keeps going. There we go. Okay, great. Now come
Yeah,
over here.
Hotels don't appear.
Oh, your
When
health
you
goes on there?
run yours, the hotels are here.
Oh, yeah. So you've got debug.print X, hotels X. What is the name of, scroll up to the top?
Yeah.
Hotels. Okay, so you're doing that right. And then down here, hotels. Yep. And then hotels X. This is where you're putting it. Oh, let's see. What's before that comma? I bet that's it.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's, yeah, I think it's something like that. If we go back up here, I think it's 2 plus X. Yeah, yeah, because this is talking about the row and this is the column. So I think you were doing, Yeah. With just the one in there, I think it was taking the first cell in the spreadsheet. I'm not, it might be taking this cell right here and putting that into all those names. So run that now and see if you can see that difference. Question here, Jamie, and then Carson. Sam couldn't fix it? Sam's like the ultimate debugger. For X U-bound route, 20 step -1. Perfect. If route is greater than -1, then current hotel is equal to route X, exit function indiff next. Current hotel, that's great. What did it say? Oh, let's check your route. So that's saying, scroll up to the top. Is that initializing your route? Did you run this one?
Think so.
Why don't you click on stop and run it again? So click stop and run up to, put your cursor into this one, calc route. Yeah. Is that the same thing? Let's see. Oh, variable not defined.
Crap.
Oh, yeah, we put for Nate. Who's Nate?
No.
Oh, we're not there yet.
This is actually supposed to be down in the other sub. So let's see his calc route sub. He just has route 0, route 1. And then this one goes down there, current hotel. Oh, you've already got it.
Oh.
Does that make sense? So because there it is. I think you just did it.
Oh.
So from the calc route, that's the one we ran. We did the initialize sub. The initialize is going to create all those arrays. And then it says, okay, now that it's created, go put 1 into that route 0. Then on route 2, run the next hotel. So it comes down here and it creates the variable. Then it says, oh, you want me to run the current hotel function. So it comes down here, runs this, and then comes back and stops. So if you go to the immediate window down here and do question mark, we are at, so type in we are at like that. And it should say 1. Perfect. So it knows what the current hotel is. And now it's about to figure out what the next hotel is. Good. That looks great. Questions on that? Does that make a little bit more sense? Okay. Carson?
I think mine just starts to do its own thing and go to the very end. And skip past the stuff.
Okay, let's see. What did that say?
Oh, what did the warning say?
Yeah, what did that wording say?
Um,
Statement invalid outside type block. Oh, I think you're missing a space between
Oh,
div and
div and
X.
so is that'll pull it away from the stop? That's strange.
There it is. It was like dim X wasn't a command. It was like, I don't know what the dim X is.
But so now I can put it nowhere or
That's right. So go here in immediate window, type in question mark, we are at, and it should say 1. Because it's pulling from that current hotel function.
okay.
Whew, not bad. We got this. Okay, so now we have a calculate route sub, and we have a next hotel. We're trying to figure out what the next hotel is, but in order to figure out the next hotel, we have to know what the current hotel is. We now know what the current hotel is. So that's where we stopped, right? So right here is where we're at. We've found the current hotel. What's the next step? The next step is if we know what the current hotel is, so if we know that the hotel we're at is number 1, Salt Lake City, we want to come over here to this array and we want to look at all of these different distances for this array and we want to find the shortest one. That's the next step. How would we find the shortest distance in this array given we know what our current hotel is? Any thoughts there? Just logically, like without code, how would we find the shortest distance in this row of numbers? Yes. 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 Yes, I'm talking about the code in VBA. And there's a couple different ways to do it. Here's one way. The challenge with that way is we have to know what the range is, and we could try to figure that out. We could actually use, in fact, in another chapter that we won't get to, you can actually use Excel functions in VBA, but that's not the easiest way to do it. There's an easier way, I think. And what we could do here is we can create um, a loop. Let's go ahead and do a loop again. So we'll do dim x as integer. And what we'll also look for is something called a short, let's just call it a short distance as integer. Okay. So we're going to use an x to create this loop. And we just want to make sure that we're going through the right numbers first, right? We just want to make sure, oh yeah, we're going to go through all of the distances for that hotel. So let's build a loop. Let's do a for loop. Let's do for x equal to 0 to u bound, in this case, hotels. Um, and inside that hotels, we want to know which one is the shortest distance, right? So I'll do my next before I forget. There's my next for my for. Inside of the for loop is, let's just print them. Debug.print. Let's print x, whatever that index is. And let's also print we are at. Just to print this all out. Debug x and the array dist x we are at. So I'm going to drag my yellow back up here and I'll hit play. And it should give us all those hotels, all those numbers. Very good. So it gave us 1, 0. It gave us, in fact, let me make this a little bit bigger here. 1 is 0, and then it's 653. So it's literally giving us, here's this line right here, 691 from 1 to 0. 1 to 1 is 0, same hotel. 653 is the 2, right? It's giving this row right here. So this is how we know we got the right information. So this is the row that we're going to use to identify which one is the shortest, which one's the closest. So we have this short distance integer here. We now have a loop here. So maybe instead of debugging printing, let me comment this out. Let's actually do a compare and let's look. Let's say if dist x we are at is less than the short distance, then make that the short distance, right? Short distance is equal to dist x we are at. Okay, let's think about that for a second. What is this saying? This is saying if the distance, right, and we're looking at these numbers up here, right? If this 691 is less than the short distance, then make that the short distance. Is that it? Did we do it? Once we know what the short distance is, now we know which hotel is the closest. So we can type, um, well, let me come back to that in a second. But first of all, we're just saying, what is the short distance? And so let's do this. Let's do debug.print. And let's say the shortest distance is with a space. And let's do short distance. How about that? Does that work? There's one more thing here before we run it. We actually need to set the short distance to something. Let's set this to be really big, right? Let's make it a big number. What's the circumference of the Earth? 24,000, something like that. So let's make short distance huge. And let's see what the next short distance is. So I'm already running. Let me come back up here. And oh, next without a 4. Oh, it says next without a 4. What's my error message? Can you guys see my error? I already forgot. This is good exercise for the midterm. Where's my error? End if. Good catch. So it's not that my next doesn't without a 4, it's that I forgot my end if. Yeah, very good. And I want to put that before the next, because I want my if statement inside of my for loop. Okay, great. Let me go ahead and stop this, and I'll go ahead and shrink my immediate window and go back. I'm going to go back to calc route and run this. It's going to, again, initialize my arrays. It'll set the first route, and then it'll bring us to the next hotel. So if I run this one, the shortest distance is 0. It's true. It worked. Great. So are we done? So how do we take care of that one? As it turns out, there's really 2 parts to this question. We have to look at the shortest distance, but we also have to look at which hotels we've already been to. Because it's not just the short distance, right? It's really got to be the short distance and the hotels that we haven't been to. And when we include that, then the 0 is not going to be included. Does that make sense? It's going to go to the next closest hotel that we haven't been to. Any thoughts about how to do that? X lookup. You guys are good at Excel. I can tell. You guys are really good at Excel. Really good. Let's do another function. And this function is going to be the been there function. It's going to tell us if we've been there or not. And how can we tell if we've been there or not? Basically it'll show us on these arrays if we've been there. So if we go to the route array, right? Is hotel 2 or 0 or 3 or 5 or 6 or 7 on this route? Not yet. So we haven't been there. Does that make sense? So we're basically just going to run a search that says, have we been there 1? In this case, yes, we've been there 1. So it will ignore that 0, right? If it's on this route, then we've been there. So let's do another function. I'll come down here. And this function, let's call been there. The been there function. Been there, done that. And let's go ahead and pass information to this. Let's pass the index that we want to check, right? So we can say, let's check for a hotel index. Hotel index. Oh, that looks kind of weird with the L and the I. How about just the L? However you want to name it. However you want to name it. Hotel index is what's coming into this function, right? So we're going to say, okay, 2. Have we been to 2? We're going to send 2 to this function, and it's going to return a true or false. Have we been there or not? It had to reset the code, so that was the ding of, okay, I'm going to stop running now so I can run this function. So I have a title of my function, been there. This is the variable we're creating to use inside the function of what's being passed. And this is going to be an index of one of these hotels. We're going to say, have we been there to this hotel yet? Yes or no? So let's do a loop here. Dim x as integer, and we'll do 4x as u-bound route, because we're going to look at the route array to 0, step -1. Oh, what is it? 4x equals u-bound to 0, step -1. I don't know where the as came from. 4x, we're going to go backwards again. So we're starting at the last, the upper bound of route, which is 35, because we start with 0. So we're going to say x is 35 to 0 going backwards, step -1. And this is where we're going to check. If the route x is equal to this variable that I created up here, so I'm going to copy and paste it to make sure I get the name correct. If that's the same, meaning if it's in this route, right? If it's in this route array, then been there is equal to true. And then we're going to exit the function. And I always forget to my end if, so I'm going to put that in here as well. So we're saying if this hotel index is in this route array, right? Because we're doing a loop, we're going to check each one in this array. If it's in the array, then been there equals true, and we can exit the function. Beautiful. Does that make sense? I know you have to think about it, and typing and thinking is two different activities. Basically, the conceptual path, the logical path here is we're checking in this, we're creating a loop to go through each element in the route array, and we're checking to see if the hotel index that we're passing into this function, if that is in the route array at all. If it finds it in there somewhere, doesn't matter where, if it's in the route array, right? If it's in this list, then we've been there. It's true.
That's checking the not the name, right?
That's right. Yeah, very good. Because this array is numbers, we're going to pass a number to it, and it's going to check a number inside this array. Question? Yes. We should do that at the end. Been there, done that. We've done that. Nice. I like that. And if we get to the end of this function and we haven't found it in the array, then we should probably say been there is equal to false, right? We're saying, nope, it's not there. If we go through the whole array and it's not true, we can't find it in there, then it returns false. This one is optional because I could put a note in here, optional, because the default value for Boolean is false. That's correct. So it will already be false at the end of this function. But sometimes it's nice to have it in there, so we'll put it in there. Okay, good. Woo, nice work. Okay, so what do we got now? Now let's come back up to our next hotel. Let's see, where were we? Yeah, our next hotel function. Here we took the distance and we're saying, okay, what is the shortest distance in this row? But let's add something to this logic that says if this distance is less than the shortest distance, and we're familiar with ands, right? We've done ands and if statements before inside Excel. And if what? If been there of that element is equal to false. Does that make sense? So we're comparing both of those things in the same comparison. We're saying, okay, if this distance is less than the short distance, and if we haven't been there, if both of those are true, then change the short distance. And now we know what the short distance is. Not bad, right? Makes sense? Two conditions have to be true. First, it has to be lower number, short distance. Second of all, it has to be one that we haven't been to yet. Okay, very good. Now if we run this, you guys ready to run this? This is gonna be cool. Let's see if this works. Let me go ahead and clean out my immediate window. I'll click on calculate route sub and I'll click on play. And it says the shortest distance is 425. Woo! Oh man, that's some good lifting right there. You feel that? Feel that mental workout? Variable not defined. Short distance. Let's see, dim is integer. Yeah, is that spelled the same way? Oh, you're missing a T. Yep, try that. Can you feel the, oh,
Oh, oh, oh,
Oh.
oh.
oh, okay, so you got this one. That's right. Bin there X equal to false. So let's scroll down to your bin there hotel index as Boolean. Bin X, X. If it's equal, then bin there's true. Exit function. And if next bin there false. Okay, did you set your route 0 to 1 in your, yes, in your code? Go up to next, or yeah, right there. Route 0 equals 1, next hotel, route 1 equals next hotel. Okay, that looks right. What else am I missing here?
Should I redo it?
Yeah, you want to try to rerun it? Short distance is equal to this, and less than short distance, and then there's other. So what is X right now? Oh, let's check one more thing on your bin there. Scroll down to your bin there. Yeah, new bound route 0 step number 1 route X, and that's the same as that, right? It's false. Go down to your media window and do a question mark. Maybe go on the next line. Yeah, do question mark route. I'm curious to know what the route 0 is. So open parentheses 0. Yeah. 1. Okay, great. Do question mark bin there. And then in parentheses 1. True. Okay. So that's correct too. That means that this function is good. So let's scroll back up to your, so why would it say this is 0? So that's saying if that is less than short distance, do question mark short distance. What is your short distance?
This IS
Mm-hmm.
T.
0. There, X. False. And what's X? Question mark X? 36. Why would it be 36? Because it should be. Let me see right next hotel. We're really close here. We've just got a few more and then we're good to go. So you've got X0 to U-bound hotels. This is under next hotel.
Oh, wait, I don't have the short distance equals 240.
Oh, okay. That would make a difference, yep. Because the default value for short distance is 0. So if you don't have the 24,000, that would do it. Good catch. Good job, Sam. Good. How we doing? Question?
Yeah.
Carson?
Yeah, good. No, I thought maybe this one was wrong, but when I run it, it's still.
Do stop first. So do the stop first and then come here and try to run it again. Calc route, play. Okay, so sub or function not defined. So this is saying the dist,
Mhm.
but that should be the array at the very top, right? So do you have those up there? Oh, I'm missing a T.
Oh,
Didn't recognize it because yeah, I wasn't there. Okay, good. Try that. See if that works. You might have to stop it and run it again.
okay.
Hey, nailed it.
Something like variables defined, which I don't know if that's like.
Oh yeah. So see how it's highlighted at X?
Mhm.
And so I don't think you've dimmed an X inside of that function yet. You've done one down here,
Oh, you go.
but I think you gotta do another one here. Yeah, because it's inside the function. It doesn't really matter where it's at, but as long as it's inside that function, you gotta put that. Jamie, question? You got it? Okay, great. Okay, sweet. Perfect. We're gonna do this great. So now we know what the short distance is. Um, the rest is just a piece of cake, I think, right? Now we know which one it is. Um, we've got the bin there. We don't have the done that, but we got the bin there. The last thing we need is we need a variable here. Let's go ahead and put it into, I'll put it right underneath here. Dim next closest hotel. And basically we're just going to say, if we know what the shortest distance is, now we can identify what hotel that is, right? So now that we know what the short distance is, we can translate that to next closest hotel. And I'll come down here, and again, I'm going to type in a value for this variable. Next closest hotel is equal to -1. Because I don't want it to return a valid hotel until I know what that hotel is, right? So I'm just choosing -1 as kind of a starting value. But now that I know what the shortest distance is here, inside of my if statement, I can come in here and I can say, next closest hotel. Oh, let's see. I think I spelled it wrong. Good catch. Next closest hotel is equal to X. We're just going to say it's that index number. Beautiful. Okay, so we've gone from, we went from finding the shortest distance to now we know what the next closest hotel is, right? Because we know what the shortest distance is. It's the hotel, whichever index this is, and now we can put that index into a variable. And we know what the next closest hotel is. So now I can come down here to the bottom of this function. This is still the next hotel function. And I can say the next hotel is equal to next closest hotel. And we did it. How about that? Is that beautiful? So I just updated this line. So let's see if I can, we did this and we did this down here. So we added the next closest hotel variable. We said, give me -1 for that. And then we set it inside the loop, the if statement inside the loop. Given that these two conditions are true, we now know what the next closest hotel is. And then finally, we're returning that at the very bottom of the function to say, that's what we want to return every time we run this function. Not bad. Are we there yet? Let's try it. So I'm going to remove, let's see, I'll keep this stop. I'm going to remove the stop. So, because I want this next hotel to be sent back to the route 1. So I'm going to put a stop in my calc route, and I'm going to run this. And I'm going to see what this next hotel returns and puts into route 1. Does that make sense? So now I'll just run this, and I'll come up to my immediate window, and I'll say route 1, 0. Wait a minute. Is that what you guys get? You got 7? What's up with that? You got it right and I got it wrong? Let me check my, I probably misspelled something. Next closest hotel. You got 7, -1. Next closest hotel. Let me just make sure I spelled this right. Next closest hotel. And let me run this one more time. Calculate route. We're going to initialize. We're going to say the first hotel is going to be Salt Lake. And then we're going to go to the next hotel function. In the next hotel function, we have to figure out what the current hotel is. Then we're going to do the loop that says which one has the shortest distance. And we're going to identify which index that is for the next closest hotel. This looks good. I like this. And we're going to return that into the next hotel because that's the name of this function. So some people are getting this and so there must be something else I'm missing here because this looks right. Let me try it one more time. There we go. Now I think I got it. I don't know what changed. 7. Got it. Woo! Good sign. Good sign. Okay, so that's our next hotel. And let's see, we got 5 minutes left. Let me see if I can finish this out. What else do we need here? Now that we know that our next closest hotel is number 7, I think we're ready to finish the route, right? So now instead of doing this one by one, we can do a loop, right? So for example, here's the final loop. I think this is it. This is like the final part to our whole thing. Let's do 4. Well, let's first of all, let's dim an x. So we'll do dim x as integer, bless you. And then 4x equal to, and I'm going to start on 1 this time instead of 0. Why? Because we're talking about the route array, and we already know what 0 is. I'm going to start with the 1, bless you. X is equal to 1 to the upper bound of hotels. And I'm going to say next. And I'm going to come inside this loop and say route X is equal to next hotel. There's our loop. Does that make sense? So we took this line, I commented this out. I was just running this one time for this next route. And then here's a loop. We're going to do this for every element in the route array. And that's going to give us a route. How about that? Okay, so if we run this, this should work. Are you ready? In fact, let's do this too. I'll just do this for debugging purposes, just to see what this looks like. Let's do a debug print, and let's do X, and I'll concatenate that with a period and a space. And I just want to, this is kind of cool. I'm going to use the route index as the index for the hotels. Does that make sense? So basically I'm turning the number of the routes, here's the numbered route list into the hotel name when I do it this way. Does that make sense? And that should produce a list in my immediate window of what the hotel route looks like by name. Okay, so if I run this, oh, I've got some extra stuff in here. I don't need the shortest distance anymore. Let me take that one out. I'll just comment that out. And just to make this a little bit cleaner and make this a little bit cleaner here, try one more time. And it should give me a list of hotels. Here is that list. How about that? So it says we start at Salt Lake City. The first one we go to after Salt Lake is Las Vegas. Then it goes to Fairplex. Where's Fairplex? Fairplex. Fairplex, Pomona. Is that close? It says go to Pomona California, then to Anaheim, Long Beach, LA, downtown LA, La Jolla. So then it goes to San Diego. Here's San Diego. This seems pretty reasonable, I think, so far. Palm Springs. Okay, that's interesting. Bakersfield, and then San Jose, Silicon Valley. Okay, so if we pull up a map, and I know we're almost out of time, but it looks like if we were to do a map here, and if I think what this is saying is we're going to start at Salt Lake. We come down here to Vegas. We come down here to LA, do some stuff in LA. I think Pomona. Where's Pomona? Is it over here somewhere?
I see.
Oh, there it is right there. Yeah, okay. So it's coming from LA. We're coming down 15 from Las Vegas. We do the Pomona one, then we do some LA. Great. Then we come down here to San Diego. We do some San Diego stuff. And then Bakersfield. Look at that. So then all the way back up here to Bakersfield. I don't know. We're kind of going past the ground that we already came by, right? We went from here to here, then we're going back up here. And then from Bakersfield, it says go up to San Jose, San Francisco. Maybe. I don't know. I kind of feel like this isn't, and we already know this isn't the shortest path. San Francisco, San Francisco, San Francisco, Sacramento, and then up to Seattle. And I think there's a weird one here, Scottsdale. How about that? That's a weird one to me. If I look at this, basically we're saying Salt Lake, Vegas, LA, San Diego, Bakersfield, Sacramento, or San Jose, then Sacramento, and then Seattle. So we come all the way up here to Seattle. And then it says, oh yeah, go back to Scottsdale, Arizona. Scottsdale, Phoenix. I think this is Phoenix area and Phoenix. Okay, so that's
You go down to something.
right, right. That seems like a better approach. But it's interesting that this algorithm that we used, that's exactly the right answer. And so you get to see a little bit of the kind of the challenge of this problem, right? The traveling salesman's problem is very much that. We can see that pretty obviously. Overall, it's going to be better for us maybe to come down here, swing by Arizona, then go all the way up the coast or something like that, right? That's much less than going all the way up and then coming back. Um, but anyways, the real lesson here was about arrays, and we did it. We learned about arrays. Sorry, I went over a little bit. Questions, comments, concerns? That's pretty good code right there, friends. That's pretty good stuff. Arrays. I mean, you could put that on your resume. They'd be like, "What's an array?" Oh, well, let me tell you. We made some multi-dimensional arrays in VBA class, supply chain management class. Okay, very cool. Very good. Good luck on that midterm. You guys got this. You totally got this.
No class next week?
No class next week. We will see you guys after that. Yes, JC asks, can I upload this code? Yes, let me upload that right now so that you guys have that. Absolutely. Before I forget. Okay, great. I will sign off from here. You bet. We'll talk to you guys later.